All right. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to adjust that a little bit. Ever so much. There we go. You didn't know it was a thing? John, come on. Live streams. It's awesome. All right. What's up, guys? So I got plenty of time today. We're just going to chat. We're going to talk about flashlights mostly. That kind of thing. Morning. Well, I guess it is morning on the West Coast, right? What is it, 10 a.m., something like that? All right, just give it a few more minutes and then we'll get started. Okay. Hey, welcome. Merrick from Brazil. Thanks for stopping by. I think that's a good idea, putting LEDs in a knife handle. I think there's a lot of unexplored space with knife handles. I always wanted to make a googly-eyed micarta. Like, it's like resin with a bunch of googly eyes stored in it, right? And then that set into a handle for a knife. That would be cool. I don't know why. That's just me. I definitely think you should. We're going to be talking a lot about Sofirin. I'm still not 100% sure if it's Sofirin or Sofirin. I'm not sure, but either way, luckily their name sounds pretty good. In fact, one of the reviews for this week is going to be this. This is the LT1S. Actually, I might have jumped the gun. This is coming out first week of October, this review. But newsflash, maybe a little spoiler alert here. This thing is insane. And I'm not a huge like lamp fan, but they knocked this one out of the park. This thing's crazy cool. That's something that Sofirin just keeps impressing me with almost everything they do. And also, most people do not realize that Sofirin, let me grab something from them. Sofirin and Workos are both made by this parent company. So Sofirin is the OEM, the manufacturer for Workos. Quality is identical. And very similar features, similar user interface. So you can look at both of them and kind of think of them very similarly. They do kind of focus on different things. Workos does a lot of scuba diving lights. Hey, thanks for coming in, Max, from Ukraine. Awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks for everyone for stopping by. We're going to be just running this for a few hours, just chatting. I have my collection of knives and multi-tools for any questions that come up, but mostly I'll be talking about flashlights in this particular episode. You can see I have a lot in this case here. This entire case also is filled with flashlights, but all of these are like AA 14500, and that's like my preferred comfortable carry. There's some other options in here, things that I use regularly. Probably gonna end up doing a separate video on like a King of the Hill topic where we take all flashlights of a given category and then we knock down the worst one over and over again until we get like the next, who's the best in every category. I think that's how I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna probably only keep 2 or 3. The rest are going to be given away at some point. And what I'm thinking too, these live streams, I really like talking to people, right? I think it's a really fun way to do it. And I've seen Metal Complex do live stream giveaways, which I think are really, really cool. And it's a great way, I think, to kind of get people excited to do 2 or 3 giveaways in a in a given stream, that kind of thing. And it's kind of fun to see if you win right there on the spot. I would love to do that. That'd be really cool. Yeah. All right, cool. So what time is it? 1:03. All right, so we can kind of get started. So flashlights. Lots of cool stuff about flashlights. I keep getting sent more flashlights from different companies. I have a hard time saying no because I always want to kind of get a sense of how a company is with their lights. You know, as you probably realize, I get a lot of stuff sent to me from Olight. I actually do like that company for the most part. I don't like every light they make, but for instance, tomorrow I'll be having a video from them where I'll be talking about this. This is the Baton 3 Pro. I think I have something to say about this light that no one has mentioned. So there will be something different about this light that I will talk about then, and I promised them that I would wait to go over everything till the release of their sale, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I believe. So that video will be going live tomorrow, and we'll talk about this extensively. But really, really cool. You know, maybe let's since I have it, let me start with my everyday carry for the day. I've never tried the Frere. I've never tried it, but I've heard good things. Some people really, really like it. So my EDC, at least the last couple of days, has been this combination right here. And I don't always do sheaths, but when I'm just very distracted and I don't want to lose anything, this is a really good way to do it. The other thing that I'm doing a lot lately is carrying this. This is from Alpaca Gear, and is like this wallet organizer. This carries like it can carry a lot of different stuff. But I got the Novel Carry slide kick in there, which is now discontinued. My custom Victorinox jet setter, and pretty much does everything I want for a wallet, and it keeps everything really nice and secure in there. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I haven't talked about these sheaths yet. So this is a Tale of Knives sheath, and this is their model with the clip that comes all the way out of the top here, which I think is a pretty big improvement. And it carries flashlights really well. And the one that it was pretty much practically designed for something like the Baton 3. I realize right now that my oh no, it's right here. It's also really good with this. I got this with an extra large pocket, so it still fits the Warrior Mini 2, which is awesome. Yeah, the Frere, if I remember correctly, the Frere has, is it red, blue, does it have green as well? And white light? It seems like it's a very specialized light. I would imagine hunters would probably really appreciate that light, because I know they use different types of colors to find like blood trails and stuff, but I don't really have enough experience with it. Am I seeing this chat? All right, so that's kind of what I'm carrying. I got the Leatherman Signal. This is the Big Idea Designs pen. This is their tie click pen. Not their click pen, their bolt action pen. And of course, I wasn't carrying this. I was carrying the Baton 3 Pro, which I'll be talking about tomorrow. I actually think it works better in these sheaths than the Warrior Mini 2. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm going with today. Don't have to think too hard about it, which is nice. And the thing that has not changed in many months now is this. It's a key bar, but it's one of their limited editions with their milled pocket clip. It's awesome. Love this thing. Just makes my life so much easier. And they're coming out with a new system, in fact, that's going to turn it into a true slip joint, you know, Swiss Army knife style tool, which is awesome. So yes, it is very hard to keep these fully charged. So the flashlights that I leave with the batteries in are things like the Warrior Minis and the various different Olight's proprietary batteries. They have very little to no discharge, which is one of the big positives of that brand. They don't have lights that stay on in any way. Anything that uses not an unprotected battery. So if it has an unprotected battery, I'll take those batteries out. And once they're fully charged, I actually have a tray upstairs where they all sit with face up, and they sit out. They don't stay in the flashlights. So the bigger lights, like for instance, the Warrior 3S, those I'm going to leave in, and I don't worry about Olight having any parasitic drain. That's not something that they're known for. So yeah. Now, and I also always keep them locked out. So right now this is locked out, but it will turn on. I guess I technically should take the battery out of this one now that I think about it. This is another like example of a light made by Sofrin Workos. This is the TS21. Now this is the older variation of this model, but the newest one has this capacity to be able to reverse charge. So you can use the 21700 inside and you can charge your phone. Like, look at the size of this battery. No problem. This thing would absolutely charge most phones. And the newer variation, you have to be careful too. You have to look carefully. Can do reverse charging, but not all of them can. So this one does not reverse charge, but the other one that I have, the gray one, does, and it's awesome. This is a high CRI set of emitters, and it's Endurial 2.0. This thing is sick, and it's under 50. I think it's under 4. Is it under $40? It might be. This is the TS21. So yeah, do you guys have any questions specifically about what you're seeing here? Obviously it's a lot, but I'm probably scratching the surface compared to some people who collect lights. I just end up getting sent a lot of them for testing purposes. At this point, I'm not really buying any new ones, but I'm probably gonna do a whole video where I break them down into different sections. That's a good question. A couple of Joe asked, at what point would I switch to a sheath with the size of the flashlight? Well, I will tell you right now, I know people who carry the Warrior 3S in this size, the 21700, in their pocket. I've done it. I have a really good pair of pants, a really good belt, and I think this is too big. I think this is a sheath carry. But here's the problem with sheath carry. Like, where's my sheath? Hold on a second. This sheath actually is designed to be able to take some pretty large flashlights, and that includes the Warrior 3S. It'll actually take this flashlight. It was designed to be able to take anything up to that. And I definitely recommend, if you get one of these sheaths, always ask for the extra size, by the way. But even that is, I think, too big. Funny thing about it is sheaths don't necessarily mean that they work well with large flashlights. You may need to resort to carrying it in a bag in some cases. I actually think this flashlight carries pretty well in the pocket. In fact, better than in the sheath because of the length that sticks out. It's a lot more comfortable to have it in pocket than it is in the sheath. This particular sheath, at least. You can see it with the orientation it's in, you have to get it all the way down, and even then it still has about an inch coming up off the top, and it has that strike bezel. So if you're bending over, you're actually rolling on top of that flashlight. Yeah, Merrick. I really want to do a video on 4 flashlights that you can keep in your bag that work as power banks for. Where's it? The other one. Where is it? Where is it? Oh yeah. So here's a like a little heads up on this. So these 4 flashlights, 2 are made by Workos, which are actually made by Sofirin, and 2 are actually from Sofirin. All of these run the exact same battery, 21700, 5000 milliamp hours. All of them are capable of being charged with a USB-C cable and can reverse charge into another component. So you have a right angle light, you have a Endurial 2.0 with high CRI emitter, real nice and short as well. Like, look how short this thing is. There's the Warrior Mini 2. Here's the Baton 3 Pro. Like, it's not even that much longer than this. It's pretty crazy. And then you have a thrower as well. So you have the thrower option. So you have 4 different options: a lamp, a thrower, a light that's designed to spread out. You know, it's a very diffuse light, and then you have a right angle light. So you have 4 different options, all of them under 50, except I think this one's a little more expensive. And all of them can charge your phone. Pretty sick. I love it. So the Imela LD70, Tim H asks, I've seen it. In fact, I think I have one. Hold on a second. Let me find it. Yeah, here we go. Here you go. This is what you're asking about? The Imela LD70? I think this is the one you're referring to. 4,000. This guy's battery's dead right now, but this is rated to 4,000 lumens. It is very, very bright, but it is a novelty flashlight, and they would never recommend it for anyone whatsoever. It has a proprietary charging system. It's a weird user interface. It does have one of the biggest emitters I've ever seen. I mean, take a look at this thing. It's huge for a light this small. It's a novelty, okay? It's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it is absolutely a novelty flashlight. No question. It also seems to have weird parasitic drain issues because every time I pull it out, it's got a dead battery, which is kind of annoying. Yes, so this is why you don't want to buy cheap batteries necessarily. Someone mentioned, well, there's self-discharge. That's true. The better the quality of the battery, usually that they decrease in the self-discharge somewhat. The best batteries in the world are made in Japan, not even close. But you will pay for them. They are very expensive. I think the 14,500 equivalent from Japan is around $9 to $10 each. So to give you an idea. So honestly, William, you were asking about the Phoenix HM61. I don't have a ton of experience with Phoenix lights outside of the ones that have been sent to me. My biggest issue with Phoenix flashlights is that they feel a little overpriced. And on top of that, they all have really mediocre user interfaces. That's my only issue with them because their runtime, output, and efficiency, along with their quality, is really high. And they have the best manuals out there. I think I've said that a couple of times. But I just don't buy them because their user interface bugs me so much. That's the big thing. Yeah, Tim, I would not recommend the Imela at all. I definitely not. Stick away from this. Like, this is a great example of a light that was fun. I think I got this as part of a trade, um, but is absolutely impractical. Like, no one should own this. There's no reason. I have a ton of these type of novelty flashlights. Yeah. I'm a very much a snob when it comes to user interface. I want something very specific. I want to be able to access the lowest mode and the highest mode without knowing what setting I'm in. And not all flashlights can do that. Oh yeah, Joven, I think you're talking about the arc field. I actually do have it. Well, kind of. I don't anymore because I was on vacation when I unboxed it, and my mom loved it so much, I had to give it to her. She's been using it on her job site. She works in construction. She's a project manager. It has been her favorite light. She loves it. It looks good in the office, so she can use it in the office. It works great. It's fantastic. It's in fact one of the, I think, the best things that Olight has made recently. Genuinely, I think it got a weird flack because it looks very similar to the Wedge from Streamlight. But the funny thing about it is the Wedge is IP4, so it's not even waterproof. This one actually is, and it doesn't have a laser. So, yeah, it's awesome. So someone asked, do I recommend a fountain pen for EDC? I don't carry one, and that's mostly because, well, one, my handwriting's terrible and it's not going to make it any better, and two, it always requires a pen cap, right, to be screwed on or unscrewed. And I like my pens to be one hand usable versus two hands. So it's a much better pen for writing long time. It's really enjoyable, but it's not for me personally. I think if it's your thing, you don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Do it. That kind of thing. William asked, can you recommend a really good right angle flashlight? Yeah, absolutely. Depends on the size. So what battery type are you referring to? So the HD20 from Workos, which is made by Sofarin, would be my 21700 of choice. There's two emitters here. You have one that is for distance and is white, cool white, and then one that is a high CRI down at the bottom. And you can have both on at the same time, one on at the time. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. So William, so two CR123s is very similar to a 18650, right? I actually would recommend you stay away from CR123s entirely. Most accidents relating to flashlight batteries happen with that exact size and chemistry. So there are three different types of batteries when it comes to lithium. There's lithium metal batteries, which is the CR123. There is lithium ion batteries, like the 18650, and then there are lithium polymer batteries. And a lithium polymer battery is something like the batteries you'll find in a Rovivon, for instance. And so I would stay away from those. To answer your question though, like when we're talking about I guess it's budget, right? Start with budget. I think the easiest answer for this is, once again, Sofarin. I'm just going to be easy on this. So I think it's called the SP40. It has a LH1D, which is going to make incredibly good light, like so nice to look at. And yeah, I can definitely recommend one of those. You can also get ones that are smaller. So for instance, here we go. So this is the HS10, which is the same size as a CR123, but it doesn't take CR123. So I want to be clear. It only takes the 16340, which is the exact same size as a CR123. It's just a rechargeable version. So MSR, have I tried any MSR or Noctagon lights? Yes, in fact, I have one right here. Here you go. This is the Noctagon KR4. So this was ordered custom from China. It is ridiculously good. Don't be like me and get, really excited about huge lumen numbers. I went for the 4300 lumen variant. I should have gone for the 3800 lumen variant that had a high CRI. That was a big mistake. But they are fantastic. But the thing I like the most about them is the heat management. Even though it's one of the most powerful lights I have, they're able to manage the heat better than most, and far, far better than something like the Lumentop, what is this? The FW3A, which is same battery, but heat management in the MSR is way better than the Lumentop. This gets hot really fast. So that really matters. So there are not, Victor asked, do I have the right angle version of the Streamlight ProTech? I don't. I gotta be honest, there are not many Streamlight flashlights that I really like. The ProTech 1L 1A is an outlier for me. It is so unique in the flashlight world, so it's one of my favorites. But generally, I haven't found many of the Streamlights to be good for the value, the right combination, user interface. I haven't found anything that I go, ooh, I've got to buy that. So I don't really get any, and they don't send me any, so I haven't tried them. All right. Yeah, Max. 18650 is a really stable chemistry, and it has really, really good efficiency. I would look at that size. That size is a really nice middle ground between small compact flashlights and really large ones. And like something like the Warrior 3, which is going to be on sale tomorrow, is really solid. And they don't make I think the Perrin Mini is actually a 21700 equivalent. I wish they made a right angled version of this. That would be really cool. Yeah, Tim H, the i3T from Olight is one of the best lights they make. In fact, I have a couple of them right here. And people don't know about these lights is that these can actually take lithium batteries, the 10440, and you can pump out a maximum output of near 500 lumens with this little dinky little light. It is incredible. Just be careful you don't run the battery all the way down, because those batteries usually are unprotected and you can damage the battery. So just keep that in mind. These things are nuts, super good. Most AAAs cannot do what the i3T can do. And the newer versions have copper instead of brass inlays. So they're probably even more conductive from heat, so they'll manage it even better. So copper would be best, but they don't have that yet. The Perrin 2 is very good. It's just very expensive when you compare it to the other lights. So it's really good, but it's also proprietary battery, proprietary charging, really expensive. It's got great run times and everything. It's just you're committing really hard to it. And there are just so many good flashlight brands out there. Zebralight makes an incredible right angle flashlight. Sophirin makes a really good one. God, there's so many. There's so many good ones. So locking yourself in that situation doesn't make all that much sense unless you're already committed to Olight. If you are, it's great. If you're not, like, there's better options. Like, this is the same size battery, and it's very similar in weight, believe it or not, the HD20. But this is $40 with everything included, and it can convert to using 18650, right? And it's a power bank for your phone or whatever electronic. So, yeah, better stuff out there, in my opinion. I mean, it's really good, but you have to already be committed, I think. Where's the other light? Where did I put it? Oh, I put it right here. So this is another review where it's going to be coming this week. on flashlights. I just got sent the Through Night T1 and T1S. So these are 18350 sized lights, so they will not take the CR123. But where I think these really compare is the Baton 3, and stats, like stat for stat, the T1S absolutely smashes the Baton 3. I can't wait to do this review. It's gonna be cool. This light is ridiculously good, like really, really good. So that's gonna be a cool review that's coming up. All right, so let's see what did I miss. Do you have a large flashlight that you keep in your bag? Ashton, I don't know if you're here for this, but I'll reiterate it one more time. Yes, I'm gonna do a video on this, but there are 4 lights. I actually have an exact copy of the HD20 in my bag, but these 4 lights, or 1, 2, 3, and 4, are all really good for a backpack because all 4 of these can be used as power banks for your other electronics. That's why I like them so much. So I carry the HD20, and the reason is, let me turn this on, yeah. So if I set it on the table here, I can just set it down flat and work in front of me, right? I don't have to get all fancy with something that is, have to be set up or magnetically connected. This just stands on the table, and I got light, good to go, right? So this is an easy recommendation. This is also an easy recommendation, but make sure you get the right model. This is the Workhos TS21, but make sure it's the version that can reverse charge. The Sofrin IF22A, this is a thrower. So this has 600 meters of throw with a crazy hot spot. Like, I can feel the heat on my hand right now. Like, and I'm 6-7 inches away. It's crazy. Ouch. Actually starting to heat up. It's crazy. And this thing, which we'll talk about first week of October, but it's in lockout. But this thing is crazy cool too. But same concept, 21700 and a reverse charging capability. Yeah, that's what I carry. I carry the HD20 in my bag. Yeah, the zebra lights, dude. The zebra lights are really good. They're impossible to find. That's the problem. They have some of the best user interfaces out there. Ooh, it's a phone call. We'll talk later. Talk later. No, not right now. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm using my phone right now to do the live stream, in case anyone wanted to know. So everything cannot be that important. I will answer it later. All right. So, other things. By the time we're done, we're gonna have everything in a pile. I have a feeling. It's just kind of fun, actually. In here, I'm working on identifying flashlights that use the AA size and trying to figure out which ones I like the best. So I thought this is the only Streamlight I own. It's probably the best Streamlight I've ever seen. This is the ProTac 1L1A. And this thing can use like 4 different types of fuel. It's crazy good. Crazy, crazy good. And very, very, very bright. Even though it says 350 lumens, it actually has 6400 candela. So it can put a very tight beam a long distance, which is really quite neat. Here's a light I have not yet talked about. Another programmable light. This is the Convoy T3. See if I can get it in focus here. Convoy T3 is an example. And we were just talking about Zebra light. These lights are impossible to find. They are the best user interface I've ever used, but fantastic lights. If you're able to get them, if you're lucky, but they're both expensive and hard to find. Not a good combo. But damn, do they not have like incredible combinations of user interface, output, runtime. I mean, it's just very impressive. So this whole thing, we're going to be going through in a different video. We'll be talking a lot about different AA 14500 sized lights. I think it's a category, it's a size that kind of bridges the gap. So Merrick, I'm at a point, he's asking, what about the Lumentop Tool AA? So I'm at a point where I have transcended from something like the Lumentop Tool, and I'm now looking at a lot of other lights as essential for the purposes of having better user interface and just all around. Right now, my go-to, let's see if I put it, where did I put it? Here's the one. Where the heck did I put it? I thought I brought it down. I guess not. All right, it's around here somewhere. But this light is the wrong version, but it's the same basic light. This is the Lumentop EDC 05C, and it only uses a 14500. But they made an upgraded version of this that not only is brighter, but has the ability to use a AA. And after using it, I don't know if any other AA light can even compare. That's how good this light is. Not this one, but the E05C is crazy good. I haven't even reviewed it yet, but I graduated from the Lumentop Tool because, number one, if you use a 14500 in that, it's going to have a massive amount of parasitic drain because of the light that's in the tail switch. When you use the 14500, you don't have a low mode anymore. The lowest output is 23 lumens, which is too high, in my opinion. And it's not just that one. So there's the Lumentop Tool AA, and there's also the EDC AA. So both this one and I have a couple of variants. I do have them. I just don't use them. Where is it? Must be in this bag. Hold on a second. Huh, where did I put them? Oh, here they are. Here's one. So here's three variants, and here's the titanium variant of that one. Where is it? I swore I have a titanium variant of this. Anyway, so these are very good for the money. I will admit, okay? I will admit fully. But I'm basically past them at this point. I do think that the EDCAA is better in some ways than the Lumentop Tool. For one thing, it has a better clip, but the clip is it's not very springy. It's thin. The clips on these are terrible. And at this point, I'm not settling, right? So I do recommend them. I think they're great. I just graduated past them, that's all. Right? That's what a lot of people recommend. But when you compare those to, say, this light, which is the Sofrin SP10 Pro, which is cheaper and can use an OLED clip, it's not even close run. I mean, this thing is absolutely insane. So good. I don't know how I could ever go back to carrying any of these three. And yes, it's a lot bigger. You can see it's a lot bigger than those lights, but it also manages the heat of those batteries way better because it has more metal. So it's a give and take. It's not going to be as compact, but it uses two different types of fuel, and it has a high CRI. It's cheap, and it's got a great user interface. It's awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure which one you're referring to, William, but yeah, the problem with a lot of clips is that if they're bad, you can lose your expensive flashlight. It's not worth it. Clips matter. They really do. And a bad clip, yeah, bad clip is not a good day. I will admit they did a very good job on the Warrior 3. I'm sorry, Baton. What is this? The Baton 3 Pro. This clip is probably the best one they've ever made. I will say that. Clips really matter, and There's a whole bunch of crappy ones out there. And I'll freely admit that the one that usually comes with the Sofrin is not very good. This is pretty much the same concept, and it's not the best clip by any stretch. Yeah, the ProTac, where is it? The ProTac 1L1A, this light is unique. It's unique in the light world. It's very frustrating for me that they don't have a third mode or some kind of mode set that you can select that gives you an ultra low. Like they go to 40 lumens, but 40 lumens on this light is 700 candela. It's way too damn bright. They need a lower mode. Like they need like a 1 lumen mode on this thing. If they created another saved mode set that was 1 lumen, 40 lumen, and then 350, oh my god, this light would be in my pocket so often because it's so crazy versatile. And it has the best pocket clip out there because the way you carry it, this is the only part that's actually sticking out, this outer piece of steel. And it's nice and firm. See, because it's attached here, you actually don't clip it underneath the inside, you clip it on the outside. So much better. So much better than other flashlights out there. It's awesome. That's awesome. The Topo skeletal, the all black one, looks really cool. I actually had one, but I already had 4 skeletals, so I'm like, probably can't justify having one. So I ended up selling it to someone at one point. But yeah, flashlights. I'm gonna probably have to split these up at some point, and like things like the EDC AA and the Lumitop Tool AA. These are lights that I never carry anymore. Like it seems ridiculous for me to keep them. Oh, with the multicolor? Do you like it? That's awesome. It's not, look, I want to be clear. The Topo color, the multicolored skeletal they released with the limited edition, I don't have a problem with the tool. I have a problem with them calling it innovation or new, right? Like, Leatherman wants you to be happy that they're releasing this collaboration with a bag maker and this cool color scheme. Like they keep sending out emails about new colors on the Leatherman, what is that called? The Raptor? Oh, it's exciting. The Leatherman Raptor has new colors. Who cares? Really? Don't care. Yeah, no, I mean, flashlights are great, right? Because you can send them to anyone. It's safe. It's a safe medium. So I'm actually looking forward to downgrading this and doing the same thing I did with my knife collection, where I trimmed it down to 16. Also, people asked me about the case. I don't know if you're referring to this one here or this one, but this is the vault case. I cannot recommend these enough. This is like a cheapo Husky case, which is not something I necessarily recommend. Marauder 2. So I think those are all novelties, okay, Andre? Like if you look at the work light they have that they are coming out with in this sale, that actually looks really cool, right? That's a high lumen light with a lot of output. But that part makes sense. These really crazy lights they make don't make any sense because even though they are they're really high power, right? The thrower lights, like the Warrior X Turbo, which has 1,000 meters of throw, is far more efficient and more useful. That big light is not practical. This, however, belongs in a bag. When you like use this thing, you can actually reach out and touch someone, a mile away. It's crazy, and this actually makes sense, right? This is a light that really makes sense. Those crazy lights, they're cool, but I can't justify spending $400 on the light. You know what I mean? So this is a confession, I'll say on camera. I'm still trying to figure out, I gotta get this review done. Army Tech sent out the Doberman 2. Their quality control is fantastic. Really, really good charging mechanism they have on theirs. It's, however, the Doberman that I played with is very much a specialized light, right? It's truly a what's the word? A duty light? That's the word. It's a duty light. And so it's very hard for me to do a review on that because I don't really understand the context or how to compare it to other things because it's so specific. So, but from what I can see, Army Tech makes a really nice light from everything I saw. Also, Volcase, by the way, is coming out with a small version. Should be releasing now. Should be pretty cool. Yeah, like what I want to do is like I did with that case, with this case where it's all the knives. I want to do like the same thing with flashlights, right? I want to do the exact same thing where I trim it down to the bare minimum number of items that I'm willing to keep, right? And then anything that comes afterwards has to replace those items. Ashton, this isn't bad. This case is cheap too. I think I got it was on sale, it was like $20. No joke. It was at Home Depot. So just make sure that when you get them, and don't do what I did here, plan out how many of each slot you want and do them all ahead of time. Don't, because then at the end you're like, crap, now I have like all this wasted space. Like, don't do what I did. Do it the right way. So the Warrior X Turbo, I didn't see it on sale, Ember. The Marauder's always on sale because it's a novelty light, right? But the Warrior X Turbo, I didn't see it. If it does go on sale, it's a great light. This is a fantastic light, by the way. Two different output settings from the tail switch, easy to use. Comes with a tactical ring. It also comes with a pocket clip. Great sheath. Very cool light. So the Warrior Mini 2, which is right here, the Baton 3 Pro, and the Warrior 3S. So there's an example of some size comparison here. See if I can get that. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to show you something. Okay, where is it? This is the original Warrior Mini compared to, let me try to line them up here. Compared to the original. It really irks me that they made it so much bigger because the size of this was so perfect and still is. I still carry this, I just don't show people much because it's not something anyone can buy, right? Even though it had a whole thing about turning on by accident, if you do what I've suggested, which is that you set it so that it, has you won't have an issue. But damn, the size of this was so good. But this is still one of the most compact, even with that, this is still one of the most compact 18650s out there. So it's reasonable. It's very reasonable to carry. And in the pocket, especially when it's flipped where you have the pocket clip attached to the back, it doesn't feel any different in the pocket. That's what convinced me to carry this, is that when it's in the pocket, it's actually better than the Warrior Mini. Like, it actually carries nicer and it goes deeper, which is great. So I do like that. I mean, the things like here's the thing though. Here's what's crazy. So here's the, and I did try this, by the way. This is one of the first things I tried. They put the sensor in the Baton 3, right? This is 1500 lumens, just like the original Warrior Mini. And I was like, oh, what are the odds of it working with the tail switch of the Warrior Mini, right? I was like, is there any chance this works? Sadly, no. That would have been the perfect comp. Like, it just proves, though, that you can absolutely... They could have done this. They could have literally brought back the Warrior Mini. And it's actually, funny enough, it even is shorter. It's actually shorter. Well, not really. I actually just changed the button dimension. So it's exactly the same length as the Warrior Mini, the original. Only it has the sensor, which is what it needed. And now you wouldn't even need the Warrior Mini 2. Just give me this, please. I'd be so happy. Okay, where's the bottom? There it is. Yeah, unfortunately, it does not work. Hello, hello. I love the arc field, Ian. Ian, the arc field from Olight is one of the best things they've made, but I don't have it anymore because my mother stole it from me and uses it every day. She loves it. And she's in the upper echelon, so it looks good in the office. It looks good on the job site. She goes back and forth. It's perfect. So yeah, arc field, fantastic light. It's the perfect light for the, office warrior / job site person. She loves it. So you're asking about whether you should send back your you're talking about the M2R, right? And you want to know if you should send it back for a refund because of the recall. I think you should. I like the tint on this better than the Warrior 3, but the Warrior 3 has substantially better run times and a much better clip, and it also has the little indicators to tell you what setting you're in, and the fact that it's flat, so you're not going to turn it on as likely. It also has a less aggressive bezel. That could be good or bad depending on who you are, but it's also less likely to be taken away, which is good, right? So yeah, I mean, I would take advantage because you get like a higher amount return for your money, and you can use that money. Instead of getting the Warrior 3S, you could get anything else you wanted to. There's a lot of other options that are good. Like maybe you switch to the Warrior Mini 2, for instance. That'd be a good example. I do too, Ember, but the thing is like when you think about what this light is trying to do and being such an aggressive light, in some ways being a neutral white doesn't honestly make sense because you're looking for this huge output, long duration. I think that if they were to make this in neutral white, I don't think it would sell very well. I think it makes sense in like the smaller lights like the Warrior Mini or like the Warrior 3 Pro, which they're releasing tomorrow. I think that in those lights it makes more sense, and I'm not saying I wouldn't want that. I agree with you, but they're probably not going to sell. That's what it comes down to. The Warrior X Turbo, I mean, this is the perfect car light. It really is. Right? It's got a nice thin grip, but it's really, really grippy. It's got, you don't have to fiddle with a side switch. It's got that tail switch, and you can attach this on a gun mount if you want to. It's got a aggressive enough bezel, and man, if you want to scare the crap out of someone, you can flash this in a car. If someone's like sitting, I saw a video of someone in a car in front of someone's house, and the guy took a Warrior Mini Warrior X Turbo and shined it into the car, and they freaked out, completely freaked out, and just took off. But I was like, that was cracked me up so much. Yeah, the Warrior X Turbo is awesome. Yeah, that's part of the problem, Bill, is you're playing this game where you want to utilize the best battery tech, but the best battery tech may not be available to you right in the given moment, like if you had access. That's why things like the ProTac 1L 1A are really, really good compromises, right? It's a great example. This would be, Bill, this would be a really good light for you. Let me give you straight up. Anything you run into, whether it's a CR123, a 16, actually, let me check something. I don't even know if that works. I wonder if that works. I know a CR123 works. I know 14500 works. I'm wondering if, this is not going to work because it's a proprietary battery. It has this weird plastic cap. I'll have to try this at some point. But I'm going to guess that it'll also take a 16340. That's my guess. I don't see why it wouldn't. It's designed to run at 3.7 volts. So yeah, this is your light. You want a jack of all trades where it can do all that stuff? Yeah, get this one. This one's excellent, and it has a really good pocket clip, and you can set it up for tactical use or non-tactical. It's awesome. Flat flashlights. What do you mean by flat flashlights, Jesse? Like when you say flat flashlights, are you talking about like the arc field and like the wedge? Okay, that's a really good question. So it was asked, okay, why is something with a high lumen count cheaper than something with a much lower lumen count? So he was giving an example of the FW3A, which is this one, 2800 lumens versus something like a 1200 lumen. What's a good example? Okay, so this is a 1200 lumen OLED. Okay, $70, $40. There's a couple of reasons for this. Number one, it doesn't come with a battery. You're going to need to buy an unprotected 18650. The other thing is how it's manufactured, packaging, and everything else. It's also the flavor profile. Olight really makes a lot of money on having limited editions. Not a great, like a one-to-one comparison, maybe not the best, but there's also the fact that a lot of lights, the lumen count is not an effective measure of how bright something is. For instance, go back to the Streamlight for a second. This is running at a maximum of 350 lumens, but it has 6400 candela at that output, meaning it's going to have a huge amount of light intensity. And you're going to be able to get a much tighter, much stronger beam. Another great example. Here's a really extreme version. 2800 lumens here, 1000 maximum lumens here. Which light do you think is brighter? According to lumens, this one's brighter, right? But that's actually not how this works. This light has 279,000 candela. It has a reach of over 1,000 meters. This light only reaches about 180 meters, and it has like I want to guess it's like 9,000 candela. This is almost 20 times brighter, in fact. So lumens aren't the only thing you got to think about when it comes to looking for brightness. Is what I was getting at here. That's why things get complicated with flashlights. Just because, and people get a little crazy about lumens, but lumens are not where it's at. Like that's not really the best way to determine what light is best for you. Yeah, the arc field, Jesse. I had it. My mother has it. She loves it. Highly recommended. It's awesome. The only flat flashlight that I currently own that I can talk about is the Rovivon E5. So this is the only one that I currently have. I mean, this is essentially the size of two AAA batteries side by side. I think it's really cool. My problem with it is that it's not IP7 or better. That's the only issue I have with this light. Everything else about it, I love. It's very versatile, very cool. I did a review on this not that long ago. Neat little light, just not waterproof. I think the arc field's really good. I think you should skip the Streamlight. It's pretty bad when you think about the fact that it's only IPX4. I'm sorry, I cannot get my head around flashlights that are not waterproof in this day and age. I just can't. I can't do it. Yeah, but actually, you know, the FW3A is a very good light. Okay, it has some quirks. Like, I'm not a huge fan of the button, but you can actually get an aftermarket button that actually makes it much better. It also has customized lighting. So this is actually 3 SST20s, luminous SST20 at 4,000 Kelvin. I know it's a lot of jargon, you're not, but like what I'm saying is that it's a good looking light. It has a lot of nice coloration, and you get a lot of clear color rendering with it. So it's great for people who are looking for something up close. There's a term, and I don't remember what's called, where it's the amount of light intensity per lumen. Like, for instance, this is a great one because it's a perfect math. So this is a 270 to 1, right? It's 270 candela per lumen, right? 270,000 candela, 1,000 lumens. This is a ridiculous ratio. Like, 270 is off the charts bright per amount. The only thing brighter than this is going to end up being something like a laser light. So what they do is they diffuse the laser, but it's basically 500 or 600 times the lumen output, right? But for all functional purposes, those are all novelties. This, on the other hand, is actually usable, and 270 is about as high as you can really get. You can get a little bit higher, but not by much. And that's not even everything. Like, that's great, but do you really need that? You're not going to use that in a house. You're only going to see a very small spot on the wall. Everything else is going to be dark because it's too concentrated in a very small spot. Where if you have a really diffuse light like this one, you're going to see most, if not all, of the room. So it depends on what your needs are. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Just fun to chill. Also talking about tomorrow, we'll be talking about this. So Olight sent out the Freeze 2. Dude, I don't necessarily like O knife, okay? There hasn't been any knife really that I've tried up to this point that I liked from them, except this one. This one is actually good. I like this knife a lot. First of all, I love the weight. The copper is awesome. They milled it out. It's 154 cm. And look at this drop. Dude, sick. Absolutely sick. Some of the deals tomorrow, by the way, you're definitely going to want to check out. I'm going to be talking about it in tomorrow's video, where I'll run through all the good deals that are worth it, how to get it for the cheapest price. But yeah, the Freeze 2, this is good. This is actually a good knife. They did a good job here. The Drever? I'm trying to remember what that one is. Let me look it up. Oh, the Drever. Wait. Is the Drever the one that's in N690? It's okay. It's okay. It's just not my thing. That one's okay. I don't like N690 that much. It's a fine design, honestly. I like thumb studs. I like the shape of it. It's just not my thing. They also have another one that is another thumb stud with 154 cm. I haven't tried that one. It looks pretty good from what I can tell. It's made by, I mean, these are made by Kaiser. The knives that O Knife makes are made by Kaiser, and that's a very good thing because they make really consistent, really good stuff. Yeah, the Drever, a lot of people liked it. That got one. I just not an N690 fan. I've never been an N690 fan. It's very unitasker, right? It doesn't have the toughness. It feels like it chips a little bit easier. 154 cm's a little bit more balanced. I like it a little bit better. And this feels great. Like in hand, this is a great knife. And I love that they continued the jimping all the way up on this blade. It feels great. And yeah, sales for this thing, definitely worth looking at. Like I said, I'll be 8 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be releasing a video. I'll talk about all the best deals you can get on Olight's little fan day. Yeah. Good stuff. You know, at one point, and I've never showed these off, but at one point I was obsessed to try to find a single USA-made flashlight that was under $100, that was reasonable. And I stumbled onto a company called, what the heck is this thing called? Peak Flashlights. Peak Flashlights. And they have this really weird quantum tunneling technology thing, but the translation is if you try to release it and you get that. It's not good. It's great in theory, good construction, but the technology they use is really dumb. I would love to have seen a real decent, like, USA-made flashlight under $50. Wouldn't that be great? But it doesn't really exist. So it starts tomorrow, William. The sale for Olight starts tomorrow at 8 p.m. and then it runs for like 2 or 3 days. So you got plenty of time. But yeah, my video goes live when the sale starts. So there'll be a link to the sale in there, you know, that kind of thing. Another great example of don't judge something by its size. Check these out. So I got a couple of funny examples of it. So here's a couple of novelty lights for you. Okay, look at how small these are. Okay, these have over 500, like I think it's like 350 meters of throw, sometimes more. In the case of the AAA variant. These things have like a beam that travels way the hell out there. They're throwers, but they're the size of keychain lights. They're silly, but they are fun as hell. It's a great example of a novelty light. Very cool. They're also made by Lumitop. One in copper, one in brass. They're very neat. So something I should mention, it's kind of a fun little thing, just to mention, which one do you think is better as a flashlight, copper or brass? They weigh basically the same thing. The truth is the copper actually has one of the highest heat conductivities of any metal, whereas brass does not have that kind of conductivity. So this actually does not manage heat very well, but copper actually does very, very well. So if you're going to go with one of the two, get the copper. It's always going to run better and give you better performance of any light. You can use while charging, except for the one that you can use while charging. I'm not sure what you mean. Do you mean by like you can plug it in and use it? Because I think most of the flashlights, even like the Olights, you can turn them on while they're still charging. But a Rovivon flashlight is the only one I know of one of those weird ones where you have internal and an external option. Like it has the ability to take a, you can turn it on. There you go. You can turn it on while messing around with the battery component. It's running the feed that can. Yeah, I have one. William, the new model is going to be the the Baton 3 Pro. It's just right here. This is the new model that they're releasing. Yeah, it's good. I'm going to sum this up. It's good, but there's one thing they changed. They changed one thing from the S2R2 to the Baton 3 Pro. That well, William, in the initial release, they usually don't release titanium. What they'll probably do is they'll have like this initial release, which comes in OD green, tan, and black, which I think are great combos, by the way. Those are all awesome. And then they'll later do like a season, like in the fall, like probably November, like Black Friday. They'll do they'll do the full seasons, right? They'll do copper, they'll do titanium, they'll do different variations of titanium. They'll do all of those. They'll do them all at once. That's kind of what their shtick is. That's how they've done it in the past. It doesn't come in titanium yet, but it will, like they did for the S2R2. They did a whole season, same thing. Yeah, most flashlights can run when they're being plugged in, most of them, because there's nothing to stop. The software has to generally stop it from doing that. And sometimes they do that for safety. Sometimes they do it for safety. So I got a question for you guys. What's your poison when it comes to metals of choice? Do you like brass? Do you like titanium? Steel? I think it's a steel. Steel. Do I have any others in here? Titanium, I have a ton of different stuff in titanium. That's definitely become a kryptonite of mine, for sure. But brass has never really interested me, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, titanium is such a cool metal, right? It's pretty cool. You gotta admit, it's pretty excellent. What do I do with mine? Is that gonna happen? There's the only problem with having too many flashlights. You don't know what the hell you did with all this stuff. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Whoa, hello. Danny, the problem is that titanium and affordable are not things that go in sentences very well together. And if they do, you probably don't want the finish that it comes in anyway. Probably. I mean, my thing is I like to try to identify that I really like something, and then I get it in titanium. Like, I got the first Warrior Mini, and I'm like, this light is crazy good. And so when they released the titanium, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm getting one of those. And my titanium isn't a practical metal for flashlights, by the way. It is purely cosmetic. It is not very good with heat conductivity. So, yeah, you lose out on some actual, just some functionality somewhat. Like copper, on the other hand, this one and the patina on this is looking real good. This actually is functional, but it weighs a ton. Weighs a ton. It's nothing compared to the... I talked to a guy who was mentioning in the comments. It says he carries this light. Where is it? He carries this in copper. I'm like, damn, that is a lot of weight. I mean, that's like serious weight. That's commitment. That's commitment. For sure. You know, I think it'll be more fun next time when we do a live stream. I think next time there'll definitely be some giveaways. But I'm going to do kind of the way Metal Complex does it. I'll have a separate video where I'll give the rules and you enter just like he does it. And then I'll draw from that video like a couple of times during the stream just for fun. I love the idea. I think it works really well what he came up with. I have to kind of like make sure I'm doing it right. There's some things that you have to do to not get dinged by YouTube, but the idea of doing more giveaways, that's something I definitely want to do. And I want to do like full EDCs, not just, I want to do the full thing, a flashlight, a knife, a wallet, all that stuff. I have plenty of each right now, so might as well. Yeah, I don't have too much more to talk about, so I'm not going to hold you guys up too much. There'll be more videos coming this week. I'm going to keep posting. I'm catching up on stuff that I need to review, and then I'd love to get back to doing a lot more tinkering. Okay, I don't mind doing, knife or flashlight videos. I don't mind them, but I'd love to get back to doing some more tinkering, and I will definitely be doing that over the next couple of months, especially as things get cooler and there's just more to do in the workshop downstairs. I have a whole bunch of ideas I'd like to talk about. I'd like to finish some things up, do some custom multi-tools, maybe do some custom multi-tool giveaways would be really neat. All that seems really cool. Yeah, if you guys got ideas, leave some comments. You guys have ideas on what kind of content you'd like to see? I would love to hear it. It's always helpful. I try to read every single comment if I can. Tie and copper. The only tie copper light. Do I have a tie copper light? Well, I mean, the only one that I know of that has both of those in it is actually the Lumitop Tool AA. They actually, this little insert right here is actually, it's covered right now. I think it's like plated, but it actually had, I think it's actually a copper insert. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it is. Pretty sure. Maybe, no, I don't think it's brass, because brass doesn't do good heat conductivity. Anyway, yeah, I don't have much that has a combination. Where do you get washers for Leatherman customization? You're gonna have to cheat by taking something that is like a spacer washer from something in the metric range. So you're gonna have to go to like a 1/4 inch or similar, like 5mm for the larger pivots, and you're gonna have to look for spacer washers in brass or copper, something like that. It's not that easy to find spares. I have taken apart so many that I have tons of spares. That's the reason. Yeah, Shapeways, you're not going to find spacers. You're not going to find washers on Shapeways. My recommendation is like get some brass or bronze washers from like Amazon in bulk for a certain size works. So I think for the inner, I think you want either 4 or 5mm spacer washers, and you got to get them real thin. That's the big thing. They're not going to fit perfectly, but they'll be good enough. And you may have to even trim it down if you're putting it, say, underneath the lock mechanism in some of those Leathermans. It's complicated. That's why I usually just use ones that I've sourced from older Leathermans. So I don't really have much more to say. I'm going to probably call it quits here. We've been on for about an hour and 15 minutes. You guys have any questions? I'm going to stand for another 15 just to answer those questions. And then, yeah. Yeah, no, William, I don't have my custom signal anymore. I sent the last custom I made, I sent out to Ireland. So one of the gentlemen there got it from me. I have found that the signal does not need any modifications. I don't think it. I think if you're trying to modify this, you probably just need a different tool. I've even stopped carrying the 3D printed inserts, and I went back to the original. I don't think this needs anything else. I really don't. Sure. What knife question would you like to ask? Go for it. Yeah, I carried the signals exactly as they were designed. It's weird. It's one of the few tools that I haven't modified. This one and the crunch. I think those are the only two tools that I've never modified. It's a great, and I even don't dislike the serrated blade on this thing, if I'm being honest. A lot of times I don't like a serrated blade or partial serration, but this one doesn't bother me at all, funny enough. I do like me some OD green though, man. Check this out. Let's put these back. Yeah, out of control here. What does it seem like the QSP Penguin in D2 have a thinner blade than the 154 CM? I don't know. That's an interesting thing. I'm not sure why that would be the case. 154 CM in D2. D2 is actually a little bit, well, it depends on the heat treatment, but it's usually not as tough as 154 CM, usually. So I can't imagine why you would want to make D2 thinner than 154 CM, right? I'm not sure why you would want to do that. If it is actually thinner. It could also be just an error that they made in the factory, potentially. Yep. Like, I'm probably always going to keep the Warrior Minis because they're just the size. Clearly, they're not going to make them. And that's kind of annoying. So I do have the D2 Penguin, and it's amazing, but I don't have the 154 CM. And look, I'm at the point with knives that I'm probably not going to end up buying any unless they're sent to me. I barely carry folding knives as it is. I really do. Like, my go-to is a multi-tool. I know it's boring, but I just don't. I mean, I know, look, I have some great knives in there. Great knives. Very fidgety, awesome knives, right? But from a practical standpoint, if I'm only carrying one blade, I'd rather it be attached to a multi-tool, which is why I always end up with something like this. So I don't get a lot of opportunities to test out stuff like that. I like them because there are still mechanical works of art. And so, like, for instance, Civivi will send me some things from time to time, which is super awesome. Kube will send some stuff, and I love to check it out. But I'm probably not going to end up buying a second Penguin when I already have one. Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's the more expensive variant that competes with all the other expensive knives. Do you know what I mean? That's when the Penguin doesn't really compare very favorably, is when it starts going up in materials. Then it's no longer comparable anymore. No, so the question was, can the Multiforce or Amazon Wave clones use Shapeways mods? Absolutely not. They will not be able to. They use completely different pivot sizes. Their distance between that pivot and the locking mechanisms is different. I have been able to take Wave clone or Multiforce parts and put them into Leathermans because they have smaller pivots. I cannot go reverse, so I can't put Leatherman stuff into a Wave clone or whatever it is. A balisong-based multi-tool. What do I think about that? Well, I mean, I think that the Leatherman Free series tools is about as close to a balisong as you're ever going to get. So, I mean, you're not going to get much more balisong-y than something like this. I mean, it's pretty damn balisong-y, right? I mean, that if you want a balisong multi-tool, get yourself a free P2 or P4. But at least the P2 you can buy on eBay for a lot cheaper. So start with that. That's what I would suggest. It's about as good as it gets. Oh, Rab, you missed it from the beginning. My thoughts on the Lumentop E05C. In my opinion, it's the best 14500 AA that exists right now. Not even close. Like, I am so floored by it. I have one. This is the other one. This is the previous model, which I liked, but it didn't use AA's. Now it uses AA's. It's even got more output. It's fantastic. Love it. The only downside at this point is that it uses micro USB instead of USB-C. Other than that, it's incredible. So good. So good. Cannot say enough. How many knives you know of off the top of your head that have multiple deployment options like the Kaiser Cormorant? Well, I mean, oh my God, so many. Where is the knife case? Like, so great. Well, also, it depends on what you're looking for. So here's an example. This is a great example. I reviewed this. I love this knife. It's just a little expensive. This is the Kube Hide. It looks really simple, but the way they have done this with the top flipper, you can reverse flick, you can thumb flick, you can roll it, you can pull over the top. I mean, you can spidey drop. I mean, how many different deployments do you need? That's the real question. So Ember, I think Olay tried to do this with the splint. Like, they tried to add like a billion different types, but you know, I mean, if you really want to go crazy, this is your knife right here. This is your knife, and it's not just because it's fidgety and it has a billion different ways to open it. It's also the fact that it makes one of the most satisfying sounds of all time. This sound is so good. And this, of course, is the Demco 80 20.5. Now, you can now get these secondhand for a lot cheaper. I think the novelty of it has worn off somewhat, and now that 3V is available, people want to try it in 3V. My suggestion, get OS 10. Get it for like $100 if you can. And yeah, awesome knife. Very fidgety, a billion different ways to open it, including just that. Try that. You'll like it. If you're looking for fidgety knives with a lot of opening, yeah, this is good. But you're gonna pay about $100 for it. It's still even it's dropped a lot, but it's not dropped that much. Trying to think what else. I mean, or look for a crossbar lock. Look for a crossbar lock that has multiple deployment options. So cutout has a cutout, has a thumb stud, something like that. So button locks are fidgety, but not necessarily have a ton of deployment options. You can rarely find something like, I mean, they're deployment options. It all depends on how good you are with your fingers too. So I had the 80-20. I had the 80-20, a big monster knife, M390, almost a 1/4 inch thick. I don't like it. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't like it. It made no sense to me. I get that it's overbuilt. It's really cool. But as an actual cutting implement, it's terrible. It doesn't cut anything. It cuts it like an axe. The cutting geometry on the 8020 was abysmal. The edge is sharp, of course, but the thickness behind the edge was ridiculous. It's so thick. And so it wasn't very good. And it's still somewhat true, by the way, with the 8020.5. It's still, this is relatively thick behind the edge as well, but nothing compared. Like the base thickness of the blade is a lot thinner, so it's a much more usable knife. Of course, I didn't cut myself, but I did cut myself. Very usable, but definitely the 8020.5. If you have big meat hooks, like you have big hands, like extra big hands, you're probably not going to like the 20.5. I'll tell you that. You're probably not going to like this that much. But yeah, the SOG XR, I don't have a problem with the way it's built. I got more of an issue with the company. They are not just, they're like the epitome of what you shouldn't do. Now they're getting better, hopefully, but their quality control is really lacking. I think the XR lock is really cool. The one SOG that I really like is their really thin crossbar lock variant. It looks really cool. It's like a money clip, super light. That one looks really neat, but it's not for opening a lot. It's just a neat combination. S35VN, carbon fiber, super light, very neat. You can get the XR, SOG XR for like $50, which is pretty solid. Yeah, every time I pick up this knife, I'm like, yeah, fidgety as hell. The problem is I can't do this around anyone I know because they're gonna freak out. This thing makes a lot of noise, and it's really tempting to do, you know. Great knife. This is like, you want to get your fidget on. I can do the Harry Potter. Whoa. Bam, there we go. You can just kind of whack. Anyway, it's fun, to say the least. Many different ways to open this knife. That would be that's at like what, 125, $100, 125. I think the Kube Royal does a really good job. I think this is the High. The High does a really good job. And it's a fantastic shape. Holy moly. This actually has great cutting geometry. It's just fantastic in a design. Great grip, great just everything. Just a little bit expensive for 14C, just a little bit. I mean, the PM2 is really good. Don't get me wrong. The PM2 is very solid. I actually like the Paramilitary 3 better. I like the 3-inch variant. I don't know which knife did it, but one knife touched me. Blade touched me somewhere. Yeah, like S90V, like all those high edge retention steels, they just don't do it for me. So I never get. The nice thing is that none of those appeal to me. So that's great. I don't ever get suckered into accidentally. Like M390 does not make me happy, right? I like very versatile steels. Like I love S3. I like 3V a lot. I like Crewwear. Crewwear is amazing. MagnaCut. We talked about that one. I like versatile steels, and I like 4V. 4V is a great steel. Just not very common. So like I like versatile steels. I don't like unitaskers, and for me, there's no practical reason for extra edge retention in a knife that doesn't first have toughness. That's what it feels like, at least. All right. All right, I think that's it. I'm gonna start cleaning up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just a quick throwdown on some flashlight stuff, answer some questions. I think next time I'm gonna have a list of different things that I'd like to talk about, maybe before we get started. So as things kind of fill in, I can kind of fill in the gaps with some topic that you guys know I'm going to be talking about. So if you have ideas for topics in the future, leave them down in the comments. I'm curious. All right. You guys have a great day, and we will talk again. You'll probably see a video tomorrow. You're definitely going to see one at 8 p.m. tomorrow. You might even see one earlier in the day if I get done a bunch of videos. But yeah, it's always fun to chat. You guys have a good one, okay? Oh, wait, I forgot. I gotta do this. End. Where's the end button? There it is.